Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Living Astrology with Janet Hickox. Time to grab your cup of coffee or tea, sit back, and let's chat about what is happening up in the stars above. For this week, today is October 12th. We are almost midway through the month, which reminds me, as we get to the end of this week, we're going to have our guests, Pia and Cullen, on to talk more about the Pleiadian-Earth energy and also about likely the channeled message coming in from Larkma over the last couple of days, and maybe even one upcoming for the weekend. We shall see what they have for us on Friday. So you don't have to do anything special on Friday. They will just be here in the morning with me. They'll pop in. Can't remember if she said 8 a.m. or 8:30, but whichever it is, you'll see them. So I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. It was certainly not the kind of weekend where it was restful and relaxing, although yesterday I got to play lazy for most of the day, but the energy was anything but lazy. And it's interesting because this morning I went back to my Friday broadcast and I started looking at all of the different aspects that were coming up: the crisis of consciousness, the square with the sun, a trine with Mercury, that was a good one, Venus and Virgo in a trine to Uranus. Well, therein might lie an issue. And then Mars retrograde in a square to Pluto, that was kind of with us, that is with us all the way through the 17th of this month, pretty much. And some of the things that happened to me on the weekend were insane like that. I mean, minor if you took them one at a time, but more crucial, I would say, if you take them in total. So it started last week. I told you last week I had something that just really triggered an old fear in me, and I recognized it. I saw it for what it was. And then I agreed, okay, well, I will deal with this issue, but I'm not going to go, it's not going to take me out. I'm not going to have an emotional breakdown over it. It's nothing that big. I'm not going to devote that kind of attention or that kind of emotional space to it. I agreed I was going to respond, not react. Okay, that was the first thing. Then on, let's see, Saturday afternoon, it was a beautiful day here Saturday, breezy, golden sunshine, cool, like very crispy fall day. And I said to Terry, let's just go to the grocery store, get that done while it's nice, because it was supposed to rain later. And when I got back, I decided to check the mail. Should never check the mail on the weekend. And there was a letter in it from the IRS. Now, I don't know about you guys, but as soon as you see a letter from the IRS, don't your somehow your inside sort of liquefy? I thought, is it finally my refund for this year's taxes? Is it finally they're going to give me the stimulus check? I just kept asking myself these questions, but I opened it up and it was like dread. They somehow, I mean, keeping in mind, I filed my taxes on March 15th. I mailed them because this year somehow I did whatever. I had to mail mine. And I did not see that they actually started working on my tax return until September. So that's a long time. And it's cool. I don't really, care. And the letter, though, told me that a form was missing from my taxes, and so they can't complete it until I send them the form. So then I went to my tax return, and there was the form. It very clearly was sent with all of the other paperwork, but they say they don't have it or it's incorrect. So I was like, oh, just another little problem I've got to deal with, right? A surprise I didn't expect. And it should be able to be solved with a phone call, only you know how that goes anymore, right? You get on the phone and you're on hold for 45 minutes because there's so few people working at the moment. So that's good, right? I go, okay, I caught myself. I did my emotional response, not getting into, the whole, oh, these stupid people and blah, blah, blah. I did not go there. Sunday morning. Now, Sunday was the day that I said that it was a tendency to overblow, overdo, overcommit. So simplify, don't over-embellish. That was with the sun in a square to Jupiter. And then there was also the in conjunct, with the sun and Neptune. Well, brings out the drama of the Leo moon. Oh, the drama. Sunday morning, I get a text from my bank and it said, we've detected unauthorized use of your card ending in 4 digits. And I knew it wasn't my card, but I didn't know what Terry's card last 4 digits was. So I had him go get his card. Somehow somebody got his card, or not his card, he has the card, but somebody got his information and was charging stuff to his card on our account. I mean, talk about liquefied insides. There you have it. So I checked into the bank and there was a phone number to call. So I called the phone number and it was to the fraud department of our bank. And so they put a hold on the card and then they gave me a customer service number to call on Monday. Well, guess what? Today's a holiday. Nobody's there. Nobody's going to be there. So I can't deal with that. I can't deal with the IRS. I can't deal with the other problem that popped up last week. And so I'm sitting here today going, whoa, okay. So now I've got to sit another day before I get these things solved. Net effect was there were these things that were popping up in my field all over the place on the weekend. And they would be things in the past that would have sent me into an emotionally reactive state, right? Where I would be crying, I would be maybe having a temper tantrum, I would be upset. And not to say that I wasn't concerned, because I was, but I was able to really take that emotion that I wanted to, tantrum or, throw the drama. And I just released it all, right? I just released it all. I don't know why all of these things are happening, except maybe to test my resolve around those things. I don't know, but they were happening. So I'm hoping or wondering even how all of you fared through the weekend. Did weird things pop up? Now, I want to tell you a spooky story. So I have a friend named Rebecca Eigen, who is another astrologer. She does relationship astrology. She's been here on my show before. She posts on my Facebook group at times, different webinars that she's doing about relationships. And I got a text from her maybe a week and a half ago. And she said, Janet, I'm getting out of social media. I just watched a movie. I suggest you watch this movie. And it was called The Social Dilemma. And I went, okay, well, at that moment, I just didn't need one more thing to have as a fearful thing in my life. So I just didn't watch it. Well, yesterday afternoon, I'm waiting patiently for the Seahawks game to come on. And I'm kind of like, well, what am I going to do now for the next hour and a half? Oh, I'll watch a movie. And so I turned on The Social Dilemma. Now, let me hold that for 1 second, because a few minutes after the whole phone call thing in the morning, I decided that it was probably a good time to pull my credit reports. You can do it yearly. Right now with COVID, they're allowing you to do 6 reports in a year. And just because so much weird stuff is happening. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go do that just to make sure that there isn't something weird there. So I pulled the credit reports for me and I pulled them for Terry. Everything was smooth, cool there. Nothing, like blew my mind there. So then I watched this show, The Social Dilemma, and it is likely the scariest story I've ever heard. And it makes sense. It's not me getting ready to get out of social media, so don't go there. But it makes you think twice, right, about what's going on. So if you have not watched it, it is on Netflix, and it is called The Social Dilemma. And it is tech guys talking about people who've been in Instagram, Facebook, Google, YouTube, and what was the other one? LinkedIn, was it? Something. Anyway, and talking about how where the innovations that they're using that moved us to where we are now, where we're in this, social dilemma. And it was huge, right? And while I'm watching this movie, now keeping in mind, I did all the work on my credit report and stuff from my laptop. I actually took my laptop into the living room, sat there with it all, got it all done. And something popped up on my phone, and it was my game. I had a game I had been playing, and it was reminding me to go back to the game, and but what caught my freaking attention is that the games always have a little banner down at the bottom, that's like an ad, and it's called a focused ad or something like that. And it was from Experian, one of the credit companies, advertising to me to upgrade my Experian account. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't on social media at all doing my credit reports. I did not log in. I had to set up new accounts. And when I didn't do that with my social media, like, you know, how it says log in with Facebook or log in with your Google account. Didn't do that at all. But now I'm being focused, targeted with ads from credit reporting agencies. And I tell you, I just got chills all over because it's true. What I heard in that movie, what I had just heard in that movie was now happening to me without me even realizing that it could happen. Amazing, right? The aha, the drama of it all, the things that awaken us, right? The Mars RX square Pluto, where it pulls to the surface that which has been hidden or that which has been, you know, like secreted away. So I encourage you all. I mean, I know we have all seen those ads pop up, right? And I knew sort of, I even did an experiment one day with my, you know, who out there, Alexa. If I say it, she'll start talking. And I think Terry and I just made up some story that we were talking about just to see if it popped up in our ads, and it did. So crazy, scary stuff, guys. So take a look at the movie, not from fear, but just for awareness, because then now I am empowered. Right now I'm empowered not to be drawn away to the stuff that is happening in social media. And instead now I can use social media in the way that I want to use it, which is a way to bring community together, which, by the way, was the intention originally from the people who use Facebook or the people that built Facebook and those Instagrams and all of those kinds of places. They didn't intend to set up a monster ad machine and that got, you know, co-opted by corporations as a way to target specific people by gathering all of your information and your keystrokes, the usage that you have, the websites you visit. All of these data pieces are all stored, and then you become targeted with certain ads. I didn't believe it was possible, but it is, and it's happening, and it's scary, a little bit scary. So watch the movie, though, with an open mind and see what you all think of that. And if you've already watched it, check in with us here and tell us what you think. And I know none of this has anything to do with astrology, except it does, right? All of these transit type things that I looked at last weekend or Friday before the weekend were things that I was living through over the weekend. So consequently, I mean, some things are in hand. I'm not worried. I'm not scared. I'm not having a conniption fit. But it did jangle some nerves there for a little bit yesterday. And then, anytime Uranus is involved, and of course we had a Venus in Virgo trine Uranus in Taurus. So we have an earth sign trine. So I told Terry before the game started, I said, it's going to be a crazy game before the Seahawks game. The game wasn't even until 5:20 last night, my time. And I said, this is going to be a crazy game. And I could almost not bear to watch because at one point we were behind like 13-0. The Vikings had over us, and we went into halftime with, going, oh my God, before we knew it, we'd won. We won that game, came back by 1 point. Talk about Uranus, right? So all in all, it was a good weekend, but an eye-opening one to be sure. So let's talk about now what we could look at for today, as well as what we can look at ahead for the week. And today we have the moon in Leo, still just hanging there. It is now in the void from 7:29 this morning until 9:56 p.m. tonight, my time. So that will be early tomorrow morning for those of you on the East Coast, and in Europe it'll be later in the day tomorrow, where the moon moves out of Leo and into Virgo. And that's a very long period of time for a void, of course. kind of appropriate for a Columbus Day, Native American Day holiday, where we are sitting in the void, and a lot of things like that I would love to get to today. I can't because those offices are closed for the holiday. So we get to hang around instead. And the moon was only making two aspects this morning before she went into the void. One was a sextile to Mars, no, the sun, and the other was a trine to Mars in retrograde. And that was the last aspect that was made before the moon wobbled into the void. Now, there's where some frustration can happen, because the trine to Mars retrograde makes us really want to be able to get things done, right? It would be a smooth flow if it weren't for the fact that Mars was in retrograde. And the smooth flow is much more aimed at planning, at reimagining or re-envisioning things, right? Doing the background work, looking at the goals, dusting off your plans, all that kind of thing is favored today. And that was the last aspect the moon made before she moved into the void. So that means that aspect is with us all day long, right? So it's a day of dreaming. It's a day of thinking, those plans that you've always had. Why don't you take them out and take a look at them, and your intentions that you've set over the last several months? Have they come through? Have they happened yet? Are there new opportunities that are opening up for you? Is there some that have shut down? This would be a great day to work through some of that planning stuff that you might not have done yet, that Mars in retrograde has been holding space for us to do. So let's do it. Let's do it. Now, there are two other aspects today from planets that are actually the more important. Before I do that, let me check on over here and see how everybody's doing over here in YouTube land. Whoa, lots of comments. Good morning, Elisa. It's good to see you. J-Lo, hello. Tati, hello to you. Adrian Jones, good morning. And J-Lo says, hello, Astro fam. I love that. Augustina, hello. Leslie Zuber says, it was a tough weekend for me, really emotional one, but feeling a lot better today, and good morning to all. I totally get it. Really, Leslie? I totally get it with the moon in Cancer, and Cancer being at least the sign on my first house. I wanted to take these things personally. Like the tax problem definitely was mine personally, because it was my business, a form for my business that was missing. So I'm the one that Terry can't do that because he doesn't have any clue what business forms I'm filing with taxes. So I have to take care of that one. Can't like pass it off to him and say, hey, Terry, take care of that. The other one was definitely his problem. I mean, with his card, not mine, but at the same time, I do all the banking. So he doesn't have a clue what to do. So yeah, emotions, mine. Good morning, Jennifer Peachy. Good morning, Asa, who had a birthday this weekend. Mimi, good morning to you. Pauline says, darn, missed Larkma yesterday. I did not. I started to listen, but it was so gravelly and so staticky that I just couldn't stand it. So I ended up having to turn it off. Hopefully I'll get a better version later. Good morning, J-Lo. She said, I had a roller coaster with the kids also, but found myself doing the same. Sylvester, good morning. I know the vibes are heavy, sending so much love and positive energy. Thank you. We all could use that. Pauline says, please explain Grand Cross cardinal signs, if not off topic. It's a little bit off topic, but that's a good topic for us to bring up one day soon, perhaps. I've been thinking that after we get through all of the houses on our Wednesday educational astrology video, that we would then go into things like aspects and configurations of which you're talking about. But essentially, Paulina, Grand Cross just means that there are squares in this case, all cardinal signs, right? So the signs that are initiating. And so it's a possibility then that there are challenges to us in the new directions that we want to take, wherever it is we're operating in the new, where we're operating in wanting to start something or begin something, that we may be coming up against some blocks maybe, or resistance. But squares in and of themselves give us in this case, a grand square gives us the endurance, the tenacity, and the determination to stick with it until we win or until we get to the end of something. So there you have it. J-Lo, no, don't watch the movie. Definitely watch the movie. It's enlightening. And if you're not someone who's given to fear, if you can step back and just be objective and watch, because it's not all negative. I mean, we can certainly use what's gone on. Well, first of all, I always think the more you know, the better you are, right? The better decisions you can make. And if you know what it is that's happening, like for instance, me instantly recognizing that my game was splashing an ad at me that proved to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that somehow my information, my data, my keystrokes, my website visiting has been logged, because they're showing me ads based on something that I did out of the blue yesterday morning because of something else that happened, right? So it just made me go, whoa, whoa, whoa. So Jennifer, I've been hearing about that social dilemma, but I don't have Netflix. I wonder if you can put it on, search it on YouTube. Maybe it's available that way. I don't know. J-Lo says, them scammers read our all. Indeed. And it's a little bit daunting, right? It's daunting. Andy Girl says, I've been hearing about that movie, but haven't seen it yet. I heard about it. I am not going to withdraw from social media because of it. I think that's reactionary. I get it if some people feel like they need to do that, but I think that's a reaction. And I think that undermines our ability to stay connected, especially in times like now. So there we go. Good morning to Mimi. Oh, Mimi. I'm sorry, Mimi. I said hello to you, but 'tis why I do very little online. Do not download apps. No to Twitter. In other words, limit online activities, or at least if you are and you have been on social media, be very aware when you start to see targeted ads. Sylvester, it's me and my queen Stella's anniversary. She loves your show and got me watching you too. Well, happy anniversary to the two of you, and may you be blessed with many more years together. Leslie says, received an invitation for a job interview. Great. Yay. Pauline says, Ace, I hope you had a great birthday. Kathleen Mallory, good morning. J-Lo says, yes, in formation is good. I love it. Asa, just thanking everybody. And Natasha, good morning. I would love to take a break, yet first day of hybrid school in person and new schedule, technology and playground duties. Here I come. Modified, of course. How do I tie shoes of a kindergartner and not touch them? New dilemmas, right? New dilemmas. And I can't even believe they're doing that, considering Skagit just had a huge outbreak of COVID over the weekend. So funny, funny, funny. Okay, so enough of the chit chat. Let's get back to what I'm here to do, which is to tell you about astrology and human design and the gene keys, right? Whichever ones that are activated today. And actually, what I want to do now is talk a bit about the two transits that are up by the major planets. So we're going to wax astrological here for a moment. Today, we have the third of 3 Jupiter sextile Neptune transits. Now, these were transits that were sort of on the heels of last year's Saturn sextile Neptune. So Saturn sextile Neptune was really prompting us to adopt a spiritual practice, right? To make a spiritual practice, oh God, I'm getting head to toe chills, a spiritual practice that would become a form and a structure, a part of your life, a part of your daily routine that would be supporting of us during these trying times. Now, remember, those 3 things happened before there ever was a COVID virus. They happened before the actual conjunction of Saturn and Pluto that happened on January 12th of this year. So these were things that were preparing us, giving us tools that we could survive these trying times with, or that would help us to get through these trying times. So we had that happen last year. This year, starting in January, or it was actually February 20th, we began the 3 transits of Jupiter sextile Neptune. Now, these are a little bit different than, of course, the Saturn transit to Neptune, because Jupiter is a different planet, right? Saturn is stern and sort of duty bound and obligations and, duty first, responsibility, all of that, limits and boundaries, etc. Well, Jupiter's like almost the complete opposite. It's about growth and expansion, and it would be more liberal than conservative. It would be more taking a broader view, and Saturn takes a more limited view, right? So Saturn kind of makes us have to do certain things on a personal level. Jupiter wants us to grow on a personal level. So when you put Jupiter with Neptune, then what's growing is our connection to spirit, but also optimism and hope. And there have been three. Now, this is the third today. The first one was back on February 20th. That was number one. The second one was on July 27th, the same day Mars moved into Aries. And look back. Look back to those 2 days if you can. I mean, if you have a journal and you were journaling that day, go back and look and see what developed then, because this is the third pass, right? This is the third opportunity to align ourselves with the divine within, right? This was in reality where Saturn set the stage for us to have a spiritual practice. This particular transit set us up to really understand that we're housing a divine spark within us, right? That when we can, with that, when we're aligned, heart, mind, emotion, soul, that we are all aligned with the divineness, right? With the divinity, with source, with God, whatever you want to call that. This is a time for creative inspiration. So we may have that going for us as well. I had a creative inspiration this morning that I'm going to share with Asa after the show this morning. That is going to affect everybody. We're pursuing our dreams. That is a Mars retrograde purpose right now, really, is to help us get focused on and dust off our dreams, our goals, the reimagining ourselves, reimagining our part that we have to play in the world. We can't really take action forward on that yet, but we can certainly see what we want to release and what we want to bring in, right? So that's what this is helping as well. It brings growth. It brings good fortune, right? It's possible, right? That lucky breaks. I think it's pretty darn lucky that I didn't realize I had fraud alert on my bank account and that I was alerted, right? Somebody in San Francisco buying supplements and gym memberships. The bank was like, they don't live in San Fran. So what the heck? So lucky, right? Lucky break. So now this won't activate again, this transit, lest you think this is one that happens a lot. It does not. It doesn't happen again until May of 2024. So this is a grand opportunity. And in May of 2024, it's not a threefer, right? This is a threefer. This is our third hit of this, where we're really getting clear about our connection to the divine. So that's exact today, and still in effect probably for the next several days, maybe through the whole week even, as they're not planets that move that fast. So it gives us some time to really consider how we can embrace that more and more. The second aspect of the day is Mercury in Scorpio in a sextile to Venus in Virgo. Now, sextiles are a good ease and flow, right? This relationship is, they're different, but they kind of get each other, right? Like they understand each other. They each have gifts and talents that they can share, and they work together well. So when we have Mercury and Venus in this kind of position, we have charm, we have the social graces, right? To be able to talk with one another, to socialize. Socializing is favored, actually, in our new reality, of course. We're a mask, or we're doing it on Zoom. We're doing it through social media, which is why I don't want you to dump out your social media connections. This is about teaching and learning and speaking and conversation, and partnerships are favored during this period of time. Words spoken now. So pay attention to what you're saying, to what you're thinking, to what you're sharing, because words spoken now may actually contain our true feelings or connect us to our true values, our true worth, what really gives us insight into who we are. And see what's coming up with you in your relationships as well, because that can also give you insight into what is going on. What are you learning about you, right? So it's a good aspect that we have with planets today, even though the moon is wandering around. So today is not a bad day, just not a day where you can push forward to get things done in the way you thought you could, but a day maybe to just sit back and open up to what is happening today. Well, what is coming up today? and which direction can I move in? Maybe it's a good day to watch a movie. Maybe it's a good day to start a new project that we're not going to start it today, but we can't start it tomorrow either. Anyway, it's just fun stuff coming up that I want to consider. Maybe that's happening for you as well. So let's take a look now at the week ahead. What are the blaring things that are coming up? Well, today's one of them, right? The long void of course moon, where we're sitting literally all day in that wandering moon, not being able to get much done. If you're trying to force things to happen, it's likely not going to happen. Things began in a void of course moon don't gain much traction, right? They don't really go from start to finish. There's something intervening in there time-wise that wasn't quite ready yet. So it's a possibility today, if you're trying to force something to happen, it's not going to be the way that you thought it was going to be. So just sit back, enjoy the day, right? Tuesday, Mercury turns retrograde in Scorpio. We'll talk more about that tomorrow and where that is in your chart and how that is going to affect you. We're used to Mercury retrograde. This isn't something new. So again, we'll just need awareness to be able to move through it. Wednesday begins our new human design week. Remember, the human design week begins when the sun and earth change gates. The gates they've been in are the gate 57, the gate of clarity or intuition, right? Where we tap into instinct and where we're in the right place at the right time. And the earth has been at the gate 51, triggering some shocks. I certainly had a couple of those this weekend. And that shock initiating a new behavior, a new way of thinking. I think in my case, the initiation was, hey, I don't have to react the same way I've always reacted to these things, that it's not like I'm going to die over the IRS letter, even before I opened it, right? Before I realized what it was. There was also this hope and optimism. Is it my check? I knew it wasn't, because it wasn't in that kind of an envelope. Usually you can see the colored, yeah. So I knew it wasn't that. I didn't know what it was, but anyway, so not allowing fear to take you out when life's shocks and initiations happen, right? That was my big lesson. Later, so Wednesday, then the human design week will shift and we'll be again into a different gate of fear, or the potential for fear to be expressed. And that is at the gate 32, which is the gate of failure, the gate of success, or the gate of failure, the fear that I'm going to fail. And we'll talk about what that means. And then at that point, Jupiter is sitting at the gate 54, opposite of the 32. So it's activating that entire channel of transformation in our charts. So we'll want to talk about that on Wednesday. The Earth will be in the gate 3, which in its lowest expression in the gene keys is the gate of chaos. And to me, it is really an energy that shows us that in the beginning, when we try to start something new, like if we started to treat each other completely differently with gentleness and kindness and open-heartedness, and we stopped the polarization, we stopped the division, we stopped the us versus them stuff, there's going to be a chaos at the beginning as that shift takes hold. And that's what the third gate talks about. It talks about how things that are worthwhile, right, take a moment to build up some momentum, if you will, before they move into their highest expression, which in the gate 3, let's take a look at the gene keys on that one. I think it's innovation. The gate 3 is innovation in the gift, and it is innocence in the siddhi, the highest expression. That's an interesting combination, don't you think? A gate may be worth diving into, getting your Gene Keys book out. Maybe I have to dust my Gene Keys book off, except it doesn't need dusting. I use it a lot. And take a look and see what that gate might mean, because everybody will have it activated for them as the week wears on. Thursday is a day to watch out for. The sun will be in a square to Pluto. So last Friday or last week, we were dealing with Mars in a square to Pluto. And now we're going to deal with the sun in a square to Pluto, the sun in Libra, squaring Pluto in Capricorn. That might shed some more light on or bring some more deconstruction before we can move on. Friday, we have the new moon. The new moon is a super moon. It is also a highly activated day because the moon will square all of the Capricorn bunch, because the new moon means the sun and the moon will be in a conjunction in Libra, squaring the planets in Capricorn: Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Pallas Athena, all of them, right? So we have now maybe the possibility where we can see a new beginning. We may or may not like it, I don't know, but certainly it's not the end of this deconstruction, reconstruction that we've been going into or going through, but it certainly might be a new wave, a new potential that's there based on what it is that we intend. What do we set as intentions in Libra? Remember, Libra is a sign of relationship and partnerships. It rules the 7th house, which you all just learned about last week. 7th house of relationships, or is it the 7th house of enemies, right? Enemies. So we may see that we have a new enemy. We may take a look at our enemies in new ways. We may take a look at our relationships in new ways as we get to Friday's new moon. So you might be thinking about how relationships play out in your life right now. What house is Libra in on your astrology chart? And if you do not know where that is, get your free astrology chart by going to my website, www.living-astrology.com, and request your free chart. Then on Sunday, I think Sunday, the Saturday, like there's nothing going on, nothing big that made me go, oh, I got to talk about it. Sunday, however, of this coming week is a very busy day, and it gives me some pause because of the transition of the moon from out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius. That's kind of a sensitive place. It's a place where we can get triggered very easily with our ideas, our thoughts, you know, our beliefs, right? They get triggered. There could be some self-righteousness into that I don't like. Sunday is a Sun square Saturn day, Venus opposing Neptune. We may be pulled in two different directions, finding it difficult to find unconditional love out there in the world. And Mars in retrograde squares Jupiter that day. So it will be a scritchy day on Sunday. So we'll talk more about that as we get into the week. How to get through that energy. Okay, so Puffing Pixie, hello. On Facebook, go to settings, then go to off Facebook activity, turn off tracking there. Ooh, that is so good to know, Puffing Pixie. That is one thing they did not tell us in the movie. So, okay, everybody, you heard it right there. Puffing Pixie says also clear the history they've collected there. I'm going to check on that later. J-Lo says, my daughter's birthday was July 26th. Pretty cool. She sent me pics the 27th of the sunrise. Well, now that is a beautiful symbology, I think, of a sunrise in the second of 3 of these Jupiter sextile Neptune transits, right? The sun is rising on a new spirituality, on a new way of being. What does that mean for you, right? It's a new way of being in that relationship with your daughter. I don't know. So Amy Energy says, that's wild. I have not felt so creative lately, but woke up in the middle of the night and wrote a song. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Debbie Tippett's Tumio, good morning to you. Ursula, good morning. She says, Puffing Pixie, thank you. I just cleared my activity history on Facebook and stopped their tracking. I love that. I wonder, I'm going to do that when I get done. Kathleen Mallory says, I love it here. Well, we love having you here, Kathleen. And JLo says, Plutonian energy. Interesting. Yes, always interesting, because Pluto is the lord of the underworld in every mythology, right? In every mythology, Pluto, or what is he in? He's Hades in Greek mythology, or Roman Greek. He's Hades in Greek. He's Pluto in Roman. And in that mythology, he, of course, holds sway over everything of the unseen realm. So that means he holds our deepest fears, right? The things that we are ashamed of, the things that we might feel guilty about, and they're ready to come up to the surface. It's where we've shoved all of the things that we didn't want to look at. So when we have Plutonian transits, and we are under the spell of a powerful Plutonian transit. In fact, that just makes me think we've been under a spell for a long time, maybe a social media spell, a Plutonian spell, where long course we've forgotten who we are, and we've forgotten how we love one another. We've forgotten our values. We've forgotten what we love about living in this country, the USA, or in whatever country you're in. We've forgotten our love for our fellow animals, our love for our earth. So we've been under a long-term spell of greed, perhaps, a long-term spell of usurping, dominating the earth and utilizing all of her resources as if we as humans are a virus on the face of the planet. And isn't it interesting that we humans are dealing with a virus? A symbology, right? A symbology. I can't make that up. I mean, that just makes me go, right? So Plutonian energy. Now, the word Pluto in Latin what has a meaning of wealth. So Pluto itself is a word that brings up immense wealth. So this is where maybe in the US we've been struggling with the government that we have having turned into a plutocracy, a rulership by the wealthy. And if you watch that movie, The Social Dilemma that I was talking about, you'll see how big money has really created this giant. I mean, the tech people, they just created the tools through which the corporations could manipulate and control us. So a plutocracy, think about that, the spell we've been under as far as thinking the way that others may want us to think. If you think that you think on your own, think again. So like blow your mind, right? So Pluto taking us through the dark, taking us through the underworld, taking us through the ickies, right? So that we could come up and to the surface and see the truth. Augustina says, also, if you use Instagram, that's the worst one. If the microphone is on, it actually listens, so it can target your ads inside the app. So go to settings and disable the microphone there. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Augustina says, I saw a really funny meme where this friend was shouting therapy, therapy, therapy to his friend's phone. So targeted ads of therapy would appear to her. That's too funny. Pauline's, wow, just started back in Instagram. Thanks, Augustina. Lovely name. And remember, it was Instagram not long ago where I got hacked and had to quit. It was just a total, cluster, because I notified Instagram that I'd been hacked. Only they insisted that I was the hacker because the hacker used my name. So they shut down my Instagram because I hacked myself. Oh, that hacked me off. I'll tell you that. So anyway, social media has its blessings, but also its curses. Pauline says, wow, just started. Oh, never mind. I already read that. Sorry, misspelling your name. Augustina. Okay, never mind. That's not for me. All right. So great comments. Let's take one look quickly here at the Pleiadian-Earth energy for the day. I always like how the Pleiadian-Earth energy kind of dovetails with what's happening in the sky. I love how these there's a coherence between human design, gene keys, astrology, the Pleiadian-Earth energy, astrology, and how I get to talk about that to you every day about how these things sort of interweave, and blows my mind, so I know it must be blowing your mind too. Well, today we've reached the 9 day. Today is 9 choosing. So choosing in the Mayan calendar was Ebb. It was represented by the roads that tend to fork off into 2 different directions, or that meander through life. And so roads kind of represent a journey. And then along that journey, at any point in time, we may have to choose to go left or to go right. So today's energy is all about harmonizing our choices. Harmonizing choices. So what the 9 is all about is about harmonizing. So what we've accumulated as knowledge and wisdom, particularly in these 9 days that we started back with the 1 planting. So 8 days ago, we started 1 planting, and what you planted then, it's time now to harmonize and to see how it fits in with that spiral of consciousness and how that's working with your own personal evolution, as well as the spiral of evolution spiral of consciousness as we're moving through that as a people, right? Or as spirits here on the planet. So it's our opportunity to see how it is all connected, how everything that has happened has been connected, that even for my own sense of self, these things that were going on for me over the weekend, how is that all connected with something planted on one planting day? Which, by the way, that was not that long ago. Gosh, 8 days ago. That puts us at the 4th of October, which wasn't that the day Mars was square Saturn? Awesome stuff, right? So what was planted then is likely coming up now for us to harmonize, right? What do we need to harmonize with it? Now, choosing is the power of choice. It teaches us how to choose from our hearts and not choosing from our minds. That always makes me think about human design, where in human design, you have an authority, you have a strategy. Your type gives you a strategy through which you entertain every decision in your life, right? Every decision. And even when you think you're not choosing, like right now, not choosing something is still a choice. You're choosing not to deal with it. It can be conscious, like I'm choosing not to work through this right now because it isn't the right timing. So bringing consciousness to all of your choices, right? So that you have an opportunity to breathe before you say or do or make a choice, so that you have the opportunity to choose appropriately, right? To choose consciously. So looking at then how when we choose from deeper within, from our spirit, from our soul, from our heart, it's not clouded by the mind that takes us into all kinds of different territory. Better yet, what if we could learn to make decisions where we were all fully aligned, heart and mind and everything all on board, heart, emotions, all aboard, all in alignment, all moving in the same direction, the direction of love, right? Not from fear, not from anger or upset, but from love, right? Moving from love toward love. So today's very powerful in that we have harmonizing energy along with choosing energy. So again, I love how this works with this optimistic Jupiter sort of transit today, where we can look back and we can see some of those choices that we made, maybe with the other two transits of Jupiter and Neptune. What was the choices we made? What choices we made then, and how are they affecting us now? Mercury in a sextile to Venus, and that is all about teaching us about who we are in relationships and how we want to work together, helping us to see if we are aligned with our hearts, that we are in a seat of power, and choice is power, right? We all have power. All right. So now that is it for me today, except that I want to do some cards for us for the week. I'm going to grab a spirit animal. I got to tell you about a dream I had this morning. It was quite disturbing. And I'm going to get us a galactic heritage card, I think, for the week. So this happened just before I woke up, and which always means to me that it's something, it calls to my attention, right? So I was in the dream, I'm standing sort of on the street corner of the street I used to live on here on the island, and I'm looking out at a farm field. And in the field, I see a whole herd of cattle. They were the brown kind with the white faces. Like, I'm not sure what they're called, but they're cattle. Londa, if you're out there, you probably know what kind of cows they are. And walking into my field of view was a coyote, and he was beautiful. He was a beautiful coyote, and he looks right at me. And he looks right at me, and I look out over him, and I see that a pack of coyotes has downed a calf. And not to wax gross here, but I could even see the steam coming up from the calf's innards as, these animals were ripping apart this calf. And I saw the whole herd of cattle moving off, moving away, walking away, leaving that scene. And one lone cow, which I thought might be the mother, except the calf was white and black. The mom was brown and white face, and sitting there watching this happen. She was huge. And then I woke up. I don't get the symbolism. I'm going to have to do some, inner work with that. But even in these kinds of things that are coming up from our unconscious, we have a choice. right? I have a choice. I can let it haunt me, which it did at first, obviously. But also I can take a look and see what the symbology is of cow, of coyote, of the natural order of things, which is the coyotes will prey on the weak of the herd. And anyway, so let's see what kind of cards. So that's why I want to pull an animal card, see if I can get some wisdom there. And turkey spirit. Give with gratitude and grace. Give with gratitude and grace. That is card 61, which is a 7, kind of a spiritual number there. And turkey spirit. Let's see what turkey spirit, and it was right side up. So let's see, turkey spirit number 61. I don't think we've drawn this card before here. So this is a spirit guide for us for the week now. Give with gratitude and grace. Turkey spirit's message for you is that you always have the potential for manifesting a rich reality. For the turkey represents generosity and a celebration of abundance through giving to others. Give freely without expectation and you shall receive, for the manifestation of abundance is happening right now. Align with it by sharing your good fortune with others. Whether you give money, loving guidance, the gift of listening, or kindness in any form, immerse yourself in the flow of generous abundance, being a channel for turkey spirit and the desire of spirit to see all beings experience the blessings of plenty. Give with gratitude and grace from a wellspring of love and compassion, knowing that spirit will respond by giving you all that you need in this moment and all moments to come. Turkey. I think that's a great model for us for the week. All right, let's pull a galactic heritage card, maybe to give us some perspective from the galaxy, right? Sometimes we get so, tunnel vision, so close in, we can't see. Well, let's see if we looked at it from a different direction, what we might find out, what we might discover. And these are a little bit longer. So we'll read the whole of the message, not just the top commentary. Delusion of control, Orion of the past. And the illusion of control. Card 36. Orion of the past, delusion of control. The delusion of control. Here we go. Within the Orion system, the dark forces sought control at all costs. The need for control of your reality comes from the ego and is based purely on delusion. We cannot truly control anything, as only the universe, through its infinite wisdom, keeps everything in balance. Your need for control is a deep karmic pattern that is ready to be released. First, you must look deeply at the habits, patterns, and beliefs in your life that reinforce the feeling that you are in control. Practice letting go and trusting. When the urge to control arises, take a deep breath. Remember that it is only the desire of a fearful ego. The commentary says, during the darkest times in Orion history in this era, the era of the past, the empire tried to exert control of nearly every aspect of life. Even if you imagine the most oppressive regimes on Earth, they would represent perhaps only 20% of the intensity of this era of Orion. Humans carry memories of these oppressive times and are still trying to heal those traumas. One of the ways in which polarity plays itself out in human reality is through the idea of how the human ego wishes to control reality, when in fact reality cannot be controlled because there is a greater force, in parentheses, God or whatever you wish to call it, that keeps everything in balance. So the more the ego feels powerless, the more it tries to control. This delusion of control has kept us stuck for millennia. People and groups have tried to exert control from religions to politics, trying not only to control conditions, but thoughts as well. It simply doesn't work, and this is the lesson the Orions had to learn in very painful ways. Here on Earth, we have egos that try to control our realities, and ultimately it is never successful. If this card comes up in a reading, it is asking you to look honestly and closely at how you try to control reality, including the people and conditions around you. Know that it is impossible to do, so why keep trying? The message behind this card is to begin to heal that need for control and learn to surrender. letting go to the wise flow of the universe. This is the only way the planet and her people will not only survive, but flourish and move to the next stage of human evolution. Wow, I think that's a great card in a week where we've just come off of the gate of control, right? That was last week's energy. What's that? Is there anything going back into the gate of control this week? Which was, of course, gate 21. And nope, we are hopefully done with that one. But it doesn't mean that control isn't out there, right? Or that there aren't forces trying to control us or us trying to control situations, etc. All right, one last look at YouTube to see if there are any questions. J-Lo, please take a moment, she says, thank you so much, to hit the thumbs up button. And again, to show some love for the channel by subscribing or hitting the bell for notifications. There you have that. Puffing Pixie says, you're welcome. I'm not sure who that was to, but whoever that was for. Ursula says, Adam Gainsbourg was talking about tomorrow's Mars opposition to the sun, transcendence phase of Mars and possible crown chakra opening. Maybe. J-Lo, 11:50 here. It's a 7. Funny, I've been feeling like I've been floating away all morning, so I've been lounging around. Keep lounging. Marissa Bennett, can you pull a card or me and daughter when done? And Marissa, I do that on Thursdays, so if you want to check back in on Thursday. And I do for the collective on Mondays and Fridays. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow morning. By the way, on Friday, we announced that we're going to be doing a Zoom call for everybody. I have that link now. I believe I posted it. I think I posted it over the weekend. I'll have to check again, and I'll repost that today so that you have that to join us. During the Zoom, we will take a look at people's charts. So it is your opportunity to ask that question you've been dying to get me to answer for you. And because depending on how many people are in there, we'll only have time for one big question from each of you. So it can be human design, it can be astrology, it can be gene keys, it can be Pleiadian, it can be Mayan, it can be anything, right? So ask away. And that will be for the 20th, so a week from tomorrow, at 12 noon Pacific time. So 3 p.m. East Coast time, 8 p.m. I think that will be for those of you in Europe. And Asa has your name down, Marissa, for a reading on Thursday. Thank you, Asa. You're so good. All right, guys, take care. Thank you so much, Asa, for being